Hi, welcome to another episode of David Rides a Trike. I am David and I am riding a trike. Thanks for joining me. If this is your first time, please listen to the little intro I'll give in just a moment. If you're familiar with it, then just go down into the description below and click the skip intro link. Hopefully you can hear me. It's very windy today. I try to provide a little motivation for people with chronic illnesses and disabilities to find some fun form of outdoor exercise. For me, it's riding this recumbent trike, but walking, riding a regular bike, whatever you want to do. And the reason I try to do this is because I've found through my own experience that doing so can be both therapeutic, and who doesn't want something that adds a little fun to their lives. Now, of course, if you do have a chronic illness or disability, before you take up any kind of outdoor exercise, make sure you clear it with your doctor. I fall into both the chronically ill and disabled categories. I was diagnosed as a type 1 diabetic when I was a year and a half old. I had a pancreas transplant when I was 41 that cured me of diabetes. I've had 3 organ transplants in all. I am legally blind. A few years ago I had stage 3 cancer, chemotherapy. I've had severe infections that have almost killed me, and a long list of surgeries and other maladies. E-assist. If you're watching this, you're probably either a cyclist or thinking about doing it, and you've heard the term, and e-assist is very, very big right now. It's electronic assist for a bike or a trike, and there's a lot of terminology associated with it, and it could get a little complicated. So I thought what I would do today is try and just clarify some of those definitions. I'm not going to try and point you in the direction of anything in particular. I'm not going to recommend anything. This is strictly so you understand the terminology that's commonly used. And I've printed, or I've put all these terms down and created a PDF. There is a link down below in the description that you could click on, and you'll be able to print out a copy of this terminology or just keep it on your phone. And if you go into a bike shop and you're shopping for something with e-assist or an aftermarket e-assist system, you'll have that, and hopefully it'll clarify things for you a little bit. So there are a lot of terms I want to cover today, and what I think I'm going to do is find a place where I could stop and have my phone out, because I have notes on my phone and I don't want to forget anything. So I will be back with you in just a moment. Okay, how's this? It's actually pretty cold here today. Temperature right now is in the low 20s, and there's a strong wind, so the wind chill is down into the low teens. But it's coming from behind me, so it's not quite as bad as riding into it. All right, so terminology. First term is amperes, or amps for short. Amps are the current, which is basically just the the supply or the demand for energy that's needed in the system. Next, and I'm going in alphabetical order here, are amp hours. Amp hours is simply the current that passes a certain point in the system in 1 hour time. Next, cells. You'll hear how many cells a battery has. And a cell is a little self-contained electrochemical chamber within the battery, and that's what produces the electricity. The more cells, the more production of electricity you have. Motors. First motor is less common. It's called a hub motor. And as the name implies, it's a motor that goes on the hub or the axle of your wheel. Typically, they're mounted on the rear hub, although there are instances where they'll be on the front hub. On a recumbent trike, you're not going to see that. But on a bicycle, you might. More common with trikes, and I think for diamond frame bikes also, are what are called mid-drive motors. A mid-drive motor is a motor that is found on the axle of the pedals. So on a recumbent trike, it's mounted up here. This is actually the motor for my e-assist system. The next item on my list is throttle. A throttle is a device that you usually turn. It's commonly found, obviously, on a motorcycle. You turn it and it gives you more power. And a throttle differs from true e-assist because it allows you to move, give power to the vehicle without pedaling at all. You turn the throttle and you go. You don't have to pedal. After throttle, we have torque. Torque is important. Torque refers to the rotational power of the motor. The greater the torque, the greater the assistance it can give you. And torque is especially important when it comes to going uphill. Voltage or volts. Think of volts as the pressure behind the current. The voltage is what pushes the current through the system. Typical, most e-assist systems operate on 12.36 volts, although there are 12 volt systems, and now they're coming out with 36 volt systems. And again, like most other things, the higher the better. We're now down into the W's, getting to the end of the list of terminology. Watts or wattage refers to the capacity of the battery. Usually on flat terrain, 200 watts is fine. Going uphill, you could need 500-600 watts or even higher, depending on how steep the climb is. And finally, watt hours refers to the overall capacity of the battery. The greater the watt hours, the greater the capacity and the more charge and the more range the battery will give you. So that's it. A lot of these things kind of intermingle with each other, but like I said, down below in the description, there's a link to a PDF that you could print out, and it'll give you a good idea when you go shopping for these things or just looking at them, researching, you'll have an idea. All right, I am getting really cold sitting here, so I am going to get going and get back inside the warm house. Please like, share, subscribe, etc. Have your dogs and cats sign up. And hopefully the weather's supposed to warm up a little bit here for the next week. Get up into the 40s with sunshine, so that sounds good. So hopefully on my next ride I'll be able to get out of my neighborhood, and one of these days I'll be able to get back on the trail, and I'll see you then. But for now, that's it. I'll see you on the next ride. Bye-bye.